Good afternoon, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Hello, hello. Awesome. Go ahead and take this full screen. All right, so let's go ahead and get started here. We do have some updates for you. Again, nothing really major has changed, although we have some more specific timing and some more confidence on where storms are coming from. So the SPC had just released their latest afternoon outlook, and nothing has changed. I'll go ahead and click on these so you guys can see it. This is actually still this morning's. Let me see if I can pull up something else here. See if this is updated. Nope, nope. Yeah, this is the current outlook. So in the red area here, you do have enhanced risk for wind from Kalamazoo all the way down to the border in Cass County there, over to Berrien County, Van Buren County, and parts of Kalamazoo County there. So you're in the highest threat for some wind damage tonight. That's the enhanced risk that you see on the SPC outlook. And that's still not updated, but still hasn't really changed much. That area down here in orange has the highest potential with that squall line approaching out west. Areas in yellow still have a good wind risk tonight. Areas in green, a little bit lower of a risk, but still in the severe risk for this evening. Tornado threat still is very low. Nothing really has changed with that. I'll go ahead and click it here so you guys can see. Updated. So basically areas around Kalamazoo all the way over to Hillsdale County. Areas in the shaded green here have the best chance to see a spin up tornado, although the overall tornadic threat this evening is low. So I know you guys are probably asking about timing, how it's going to play out, stuff like that. So if I go ahead and switch my screen, give me a second. Go ahead and pull up our other one. All right, so now you should be looking at the model, which is the NAM3. We're going to go ahead and switch to the HRRR model. Click it back 1 hour to the 2 o'clock run and go ahead and zoom to a Midwest view. So if we go ahead and run this through, this is 4 o'clock here. Nope, sorry. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. Nothing really happens in the States. So this model seems to be underdoing the convective response, the storm response, should I say, with these afternoon showers and storms. So as we continue to push it forward here, this is 10 p.m., 11 p.m., we start to have some development in the western part of the state there. And this is midnight. And as about 1 o'clock rolls around, we have bow echoes and some pretty nasty storms work through anywhere from Grand Rapids to south to Kalamazoo. So that continues to trek to the east across the state, reaching the Metro Detroit area at 3 to 4 in the morning. So a little bit later than what we thought originally. And again, this is still kind of up in the air on timing, but it's getting more specific, where we're going to be watching an area out in Iowa and Minnesota where storms are expected to fire up about an hour or two from now. So we have to wait for those to kind of get a better idea on timing, how quick they're going to move. But right now, we're going to go ahead and call out West Michigan along the 131 corridor, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, right around 11 o'clock, between 11 and midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. You guys should start to see that squall line push in your way. If you're in Metro Detroit area, it could be as late as 3 or 4 in the morning. But if that squall line is moving at a pretty good clip, which we expect it to, you could see storms as early as 2 from that squall line. Now, there is a risk from now currently until this evening of some pop-up showers and storms. The HRRR model doesn't really pick up on that, but there are some storms happening out in the thumb, and we did have a storm that produced a microburst a little earlier in downriver area near Grosse Isle, I think, Trenton, Grosse Isle area. So we do have some isolated cells that are popping up, producing some wind damage today. But right now, the overall threat for severe weather is low, but with any cell that does pop up and the isolated nature of them, it is going to be a severe risk with it. Looking at the NAM3 model, the NAM3 has a similar idea where we have some showers up in northern Michigan. This is at 9 o'clock tonight. And by midnight, we have showers and storms reaching the western part of the state just after midnight, around 1 to 2 o'clock. So right around that midnight time frame, we're going to be talking for West Michigan. And again, your hazards are going to be damaging winds. Large hail does not seem to be a huge concern, but it is possible. And then if you're south of Grand Rapids to Hillsdale, you are in a low end, very low end tornado risk. This model has these storms arriving over Metro Detroit area by around 6 in the morning. I think it'll be a little bit quicker than that. I think between the midnight and 4 o'clock time frame will be pretty much centered for the severe potential. And again, the winds are going to be the main concern with these, as the atmosphere right now is really juiced. We take a look at one more thing here before I look at some questions for you guys. Go ahead and switch screens one more time. This is going to be a little harder for you to see just because the text on it isn't really that big, and it's kind of hard to understand what you're looking at with this. This is real-time data. We call it mesoanalysis, which gives us wind shear information, instability information, all that jazz. This is the map you're looking at right now. This is your instability map. So as you can see here, I'm going to go ahead and circle, if you can see my cursor, my mouse, over Iowa here. There's over 7,500 joules of CAPE. For severe weather, you really want to see it above 1,500. So there is really 6,000 extra joules of CAPE. This is a very, very potent atmosphere, especially out west. We get to Illinois here. We have 6,000 in the north central part of Illinois. And right now, it's kind of working its way up into the south part of the state. Right now, here in Michigan, we have 2,000, 2,500 over in the thumb, and 3,000 over Metro Detroit. So we do have a very juiced atmosphere regardless. We do expect it to continue to destabilize as the afternoon continues to go on. If you look at our satellite map here, let's go ahead and switch it over to the Great Lakes sector view so you can see the entire state. There you can see full sun is pretty much underway across the state, and we have good moisture returns. We have dew points in the 70s, mid-70s, so we are juiced for severe weather tonight. So with that being said, that's pretty much the overview. Going over it one more time, we have a severe threat on the west side between Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo. I say around midnight. Could be as early as 10 or 11, but right around that midnight time frame, you start to kind of look to your west to see those storms arrive. And if you're in Metro Detroit, sorry to say, it's going to be a late night for you guys. So that's what we're looking at right now. I see a lot of people asking for specific locations. So I'll go ahead and pull up the SPC map. We have 325 in chat here. So I do appreciate you guys watching, but I'm going to miss questions. So let's go ahead and blanket you guys here. If I go ahead and pull up the SPC map right here, this is the updated one. If you are in anywhere in the yellow or orange areas, so Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, Flint, Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Alma, Grand Rapids, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Coldwater, Monroe, Ann Arbor, sorry, I said that, Ypsilanti, Belleville, Novi, Macomb County, Clinton Township, Flint, up into Thumb, Sanilac County, St. Clair counties. You guys are in the highest threat for severe weather tonight. If you are in the far southwest corner of Michigan by Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, you have the highest threat, with you see there in the orange. So I hope that answers your question. Again, damaging winds is really the primary concern. We're not overly concerned right now for hail or tornadoes, although there is a low-end threat for each one of those. So I do apologize. I'm not going to get to every specific question, but that is a blanket answer. If you're anywhere in those, okay, sorry, I didn't even pull it up for you guys. My bad. Hold on. I thought I had that pulled up. There we go. So anywhere in the yellow and orange areas there. So again, I'll read it off. Mount Pleasant, Saginaw, Flint, Detroit, Alma, Grand Rapids, Lansing, Ann Arbor, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, Monroe, Ypsilanti, Belleville, the Thumb. You guys are in the severe risk for this evening. There is potential, Taylor, for these storms to be stronger than model just because the models right now are kind of underplaying the moisture quality, so it might be underdoing the convective response. So we'll have to kind of watch that tonight. Tornado threat is very low across the state tonight. $11 p.m. for Monroe. No, you're looking closer to 2, 3 in the morning for Monroe. Again, pop-ups are possible throughout the state today, but the centered area of concern for severe weather is that squall line is going to arrive a lot later on the eastern part of the state. If there's going to be a watch issued, Michelle, it'll probably be later on this evening around probably 7, 8, 9 o'clock. It'll probably be just for the west side of the state to begin with to kind of see if that squall line maintains its strength. If it does, it'll probably be issued for the eastern part of the state. But for right now, there's no watch being considered. But it'll probably be happening later on this evening once we see the storms out west. Watches really get issued when either storms are already ongoing or expected to move across an area. And right now, there's nothing happening out west. So once those storms do get up and going, expect there to be some discussion about watches. And we'll go ahead and get that posted on the page when it does happen. Yes, Andy, straight line winds are your main threat. Yes, Taylor, from rain sunny today with high heat, that will further destabilize with the sun out right now. Yes, that is destabilizing the atmosphere. If you see sun, the atmosphere is still destabilizing. Time for Hillsdale County, you're probably looking closer to 2 in the morning for Hillsdale. Julie, the threat will continue overnight just because we have some dynamics that will support the maintenance of storms throughout the night. It's not expected to die out over midnight, or past sunset, should I say. But the storms will probably be weakening. Will be weakening very slightly as they move across the state, but not a significant weakening is expected. Timing for Three Rivers looking probably closer to 1 in the morning. We will be live here at MSC. We have Chandler and Alex being active near Kalamazoo, and I'll be handling stream until about midnight. I believe Joel has a few things going on, but he'll join me when he can later in the evening. But I'll be here streaming once we have severe weather going on. So again, guys, for timing, if you're in the western part of the state, so Grand Rapids, Lansing, Alma, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Battle Creek, I'll go ahead and say Coldwater as well, between midnight and 2 in the morning. If you're east of there in Ann Arbor, Detroit, Flint, Saginaw, and the Thumb there, Metro Detroit, Downriver, Monroe, you're looking closer to probably 3 in the morning or so. Yes, Scott, pop-ups are happening. Those do carry a chance of severe weather, but the overall concern with today is going to be later on this evening with that squall line expected to organize and push our way. You'll be watching radar here at MSC all day to kind of get updates, and we'll go from there. But right now it's looking like it's on track to be a pretty good night for severe weather tonight. We do have some storms up in the Metro Detroit, up in the Thumb area that does bear some watching. I'm going to switch my radar over to live. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it did rain this morning in Hillsdale as well as basically Kalamazoo all the way to Hillsdale. It rained. We actually had one severe warning earlier this morning around 7 o'clock. That was for winds. Yeah, so right now you're looking at your radar up on the Detroit North area. We do have some showers and storms that have developed. Nothing severe at this time, but those are continuing to work its way slowly into Canada there. Go ahead and flip over to velocity here. We'll see if we can see anything. We do have some increased areas of velocity here where downbursts could be happening near Romeo, just north of Shelby. We do have a lot of special weather statements getting issued from Detroit, so to watch those for any microburst potential. That may spark a few warnings up there, but right now it's just going to be some isolated storms for you guys. And across the other part of the state, you can see the enhanced risk on the orange part of my series. Location-wise, Kalamazoo, South Haven, Benton Harbor, Matawan, Lawton, Dowagiac, Pokagon, Niles, Constantine, Three Rivers, Vicksburg, Portage. You guys are in the highest severe threat tonight. And then all areas in the yellow part, which is pretty much the entire Lower Peninsula up to Saginaw to Muskegon and south, you guys are in the slight risk. So pretty good threat tonight. That may shift and it's extend if that squall line is expected to be more organized. They may extend that enhanced risk further across. But at this point in time, I wouldn't expect them to, just looking at models and stuff like that. Yeah, Julie, I believe I saw your picture on Twitter. I was scrolling through. Aaron, you'll probably get storms up there today, or tonight, should I say, in Grand Rapids, Sparta. It's going to be a pretty widespread event. Also, another thing we got to cover is the flooding. There are some flood watches in effect for the Metro Detroit area after we had the rains from the past couple of storms really dump on or Detroit area. Excuse me. So I have to watch those areas closely. I apologize for that. I just ate. So if you heard that, I'm sorry. Yeah, we're going to have to watch those very closely. Yeah, the enhanced risk could be extended, but right now, I don't expect it to be. Unless models are underplaying this and we have a more organized line than what we're expecting, which is possible. I'm not going to write that off. Jackson County looking probably closer to 2, 3 in the morning. Rough time estimates. Timing is going to be kind of variable. So hail threat, Sarah, is going to be low today across the state. It's going to be a very low end risk. Nothing significant, I wouldn't expect. Yes, Alexis, wind is still the main concern for the storms. Brandy asked if we'll think it'll be a derecho type storm. So as of right now in the models, I'm going to say no. If the models are wrong and this is more organized than expected, then it's possible, but that would take a lot. Derechos are considered or surveyed and decided after the fact, so we can't say if it's going to be a derecho or not. We'll have to wait until after the event, but it does have potential to be a long track wind event. I just don't think it has the organization we're going to need for a long track wind event. Julie, we'll be here streaming all night if we have to. We're going to have Chandler and Alex in the field on the west side, and I'll be on the east side. Joel will be joining stream later on the evening. I'll have stream and radar operations. Joel's going to have a camera set up where he's going to be at near Grand Rapids, pointed west. So I can take his camera at any given time, but he's going to be busy with some stuff. Chandler and Alex getting off work in a few hours. They'll be chasing. And then once the storms get to me, I'll be out chasing if somebody can take over the stream. But if not, I'll be here all night. No, Al, no storms are firing in Iowa currently. We're watching that closely, though. Thumb area isn't a severe threat tonight for just mainly wind. I think the only threat up there is wind, actually. The hail threat kind of stops before it gets to the thumb. So I think your only risk tonight will be wind for the thumb. Excuse me, I'm having a hard time. The only risk for the thumb tonight will be wind. Kalamazoo, right around midnight time frame, give or take an hour. Wind is your main threat. Ann Arbor looking closer to 3 in the morning. Again, these are just rough time estimates. Could be a little bit later, could be a little bit before. It's going to depend on when exactly storms fire and how quickly they move. Models have been pretty much trashed today. Even up to this point, they're still underdoing moisture, and it's just common issues you have with some of the models. That's just kind of roll your eyes. So we really don't have a good handle on it, but we do have some more confidence looking at the real-time data to say we're watching this area out west for development, and once that happens, we'll have to track it east. Taylor, anywhere in Detroit area, you're looking at the 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning time frame. So if you're in Macomb County, if you're in Monroe County, anywhere between then, Ann Arbor, Washtenaw, Flint, you're looking mainly after 2 to 4 in the morning. If you're really close to Canada and the lakes, you're looking probably the latest time frame 4 to 5. South Haven is in the risk tonight, mainly wind. Will do, Stephanie. You stay safe out there as well. Not sure if anybody can read Spanish, can interpret this. I have no idea if it's spam or if he's trying to tell me something. But yeah, it is getting annoying. I know that a lot of people do speak Spanish across the state, but I do not speak Spanish. I cannot read Spanish. So I do apologize. But if anybody can interpret that, if it's spam, I'll go ahead and block him. I can. I just don't know if he's trying to tell me something or what. Kylie says, send it her way. I mean, I wish I could, but storms are not an exact science. Let's see here. Yeah, I caught that much, Nessa, about something about Texas. I caught that much. If I see another comment from him, I'll go ahead and get rid of him. But for right now, he's not commenting, so let's keep him in. Newaygo, Malcolm, you're looking mainly around the midnight to right around midnight time frame. It could be a bit before. There's a potential that some cells could pop out ahead of the main squall line a little bit earlier, although that risk is uncertain at this point. I'm giving you guys timelines for the main squall line. There are pop-up potentials all throughout, the state today. I believe we have a special weather statement this got issued for Wayne and Macomb counties. This is Oakland County, my bad. Okay, that's on the lake there. So got some good downburst winds look like happening in Romeo. I'm happy to report I'll have a better setup for you guys, so I have some better Wi-Fi on the way, and also some better software to use eventually here next month or so. So I be able to do some more digging into stuff. So look forward to that. Lenawee County, straight. Okay, so 2 questions here. Lenawee County, Jeff, you're looking around the 3 o'clock time frame in the morning. It's gonna be a late night for us, and wind's gonna be the primary threat. Alexis asks, what are straight line winds? Straight line winds are essentially just winds that are in one straight line. Tornadic winds are rotating winds. So when you have a tornado, the winds are rotating around that mesocyclone of the storm. But with straight line winds, it's usually an outflow push from a storm that you're just going to have a burst of winds in your face going in one direction. Yeah, Julie. Poor Joel needs something for his robot voice. Yeah, we're working on that. We're getting some better equipment on the way for us all. It might take some time, but it's going to happen. If you guys haven't already, hit the like button on the stream before you guys head out. I know we're kind of winding down here in the stream. Just wanted to give you guys the update. So if you guys have questions, I'll continue to answer. But before you head out there, hit that like button on the stream. We'd appreciate that. Will storms weaken after sunset? The answer is not really. It's possible that they could be on a weakening trend, but because the sun goes down does not mean storms are going to weaken tonight. We do have some dynamics in the atmosphere that will sustain storms or is expected to maintain storms. So with that being said, the threat that they weaken, it's not that type of event. Typical summertime day, yeah, that would be a pretty safe bet. But tonight we have a few things that are going to help support these storms and maintain them. All right, Jay, you're going to be out of here. Sorry, I hate banning people, but I cannot read Spanish. And if you guys are saying he's talking trash, he's out of here. Alexis, yes, the main threat with this will be damaging winds, which is straight line winds. When we say damaging winds and straight line winds, it usually means the same thing. Julie, for Fenton, you are looking around the 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning time frame. Wind and I say wind's your only threat up there, so just some gusty winds for you. The highest threat's going to be off to your south and west there. You still are in a slight risk, but the highest potential will be in the south and west part of the states. No, you're good, Alexis. Keep asking if you got more questions. That's what we're here for. Jamie asks, what are involved with low echo storms? So if you're talking like atmospheric dynamics, that's what you mean. We're looking basically for a ridge setup where you have some hot air in the central part of the U.S. There's a dome around the upper part of the United States where storms can latch on what we call a ridge and basically ride that ridge. That's step one. But also when you have winds in the atmosphere going in one direction, so when you have winds out of the southwest at the surface and winds out of the southwest at, say, 5,000 feet in the air, you have potential to get those storms bowing outwards. Versus tornadoes, you want that wind rotating with height. So southeast winds on the surface, rotating to the southwest to westerly as they continue up with height. If you're in Metro Detroit area, I see people asking for Macomb, Flat Rock, Milford, Fenton. You guys are looking at about 2 to 4 in the morning. Tornado risk will stay low, Alexis. Livingston County, again, 2 to 4 in the morning is a rough estimate. Yes, Bill, the storms are expected to hold together. They might be on a slow weakening trend as they continue east, but there are dynamics in place tonight where storms aren't going to immediately die after sunset. So they are expected to continue and maintain their strength. Alexis, where exactly around do you live? The only tornadic threat I see tonight is going to be in the very far southwest corner of the state. And even then, the threat is extremely low. So if you're anywhere outside southwest Michigan, you're fine. Westland, 2 to 4 in the morning. Sanilac County, again, 2 to 4 in the morning. What's up, Tanya? Flint is expected to get a wind risk tonight. The threat's going to be highest off to the south and west, so. If you guys have any storm reports tonight, be sure to send those in to us via either message the page, message on Twitter or Instagram. And you can also comment them, but you can also email them to us at mistormchasers@gmail.com. We love to see pictures, videos, all that. If you can do so safely, send those in to us. Jordan, there is a wind threat for Flint. It's just highest off to your south and west. You're still in a severe risk, but it's just not as high up there. So yeah, Alexis, you are basically right there on the edge of the tornadic threat. There is a very, very, very small chance one could spin up. But here's the thing. For tornadoes, you really want to have low-level wind shear, and there is a distinct lack of that today. So anything that does happen will be weak. It'll be short-lived, and it'll be very rare and very, very isolated. So the chances that you are affected by a tornado tonight, slim to none. Not going to say it's not going to happen somewhere in the state, but it's a very, very low threat. I'm not concerned at all for it. Saginaw, you're just in a low threat for wind. It would be off to your south and west would be the worst of it. So you're fine in Saginaw for the most part. But again, not going to write off severe potential up that far in the thumb and in Saginaw and Flint areas. It's just the threat is much higher off to the south and west. The wind threat is highest because there's better dynamics. So there's better instability, there's better wind shear, and there's also going to be a stationary front or boundary that's going to be off to the south. So that's going to be the focus for the highest severe potential. But again, the atmosphere north of that front, though, is still favorable for winds just because the amount of instability, moisture. There's a lot of deep moisture in the atmosphere so far. So if storms can tap into that moisture, they're going to have a very big, heavy rainfall rate. When you have the heavy rainfall, it could also produce microburst downbursts, and that's where your wind threat comes from. Hillsdale County around 2 to 4 in the morning. White Pigeon is in the most severe, yes. Lenawee County, D, about 2 to 4 in the morning. Wind is going to be the dominant threat tonight, guys. Let's see here. Wayne County, Katy, you're looking at the 2 to 4 in the morning time frame. Wind is your primary threat. Kalamazoo, you are in the highest threat for wind tonight. Yeah, I'd say you are, Kalamazoo. We'll be here tracking it as it comes across the lake and across to the west. So we'll be here. As soon as something goes warned, we'll be on the page here, either with the post about the warning or we'll be live. So one of the two. We will be live tonight if it warrants, which we do expect it to be. We don't want to go live for every warning that's issued in the state, but we do expect there to be a widespread, more than 1 or 2 warnings tonight. So we'll be live. If you don't see us live, that's a very good sign. Yep, Cassandra, team no sleep tonight. That sounds like us. So again, a lot of people asking about the Metro Detroit area. So Livingston County, if you're anywhere from Macomb, Ann Arbor, Monroe, anywhere in the Metro Detroit reasonable area on the east side of the state there, you're looking at 2 to 4 in the morning, and then wind is going to be your primary threat. People asking for the Colon area about Battle Creek. I see a lot of people from Coldwater. You guys are looking around the 1 in the morning time frame. And again, wind is going to be your main threat, although there is a low chance for some hail as well as an isolated tornado. But again, those are very low threats tonight. Berry County, you get the exact same thing. Litchfield, yeah, same thing. Berry County, looking mainly around the midnight to 1 o'clock time frame for you, give or take a few hours, just because there's still some uncertainty with exact timing. See here, Lenawee County, again, 2 to 4 in the morning for Lenawee. You are in the threat for some wind. Thank you to our new subscribers. We've had 4 new ones since the stream started. I really appreciate that. Monroe County canceled their fair fireworks. Why? If you're in Monroe County, that might be actually clear at 10 o'clock, unless you have a pop-up storm, but the main squall line is expected until after midnight. You guys should be just fine. Barring any pop-up storms. I know you probably can't make decisions for that, but that's weird why they cancel so quickly. Cass County, midnight is a good bet for you. Hey, I'm not sure why, Dawn. I'm really not sure why. Jackson County, closer to 2 in the morning. And again, this could be a little bit later, a bit before, just depending on what these storms do out west. This is just rough times I'm giving you guys. We do have a. Let me read this real quick. When they look at parts of the atmosphere and it becomes concerning to the SPC, they issue what they call mesoscale discussions. And one just got issued out in Minnesota here. I'm going to look at this real quick. So they're saying a watch is possible out in western Wisconsin, eastern Minnesota. Watch possible, 40% issuance of a watch. So that's not going to be our expected storms later on, but we'll have to watch that area too because that could track towards our area later on this evening. So we'll watch that. Yes, sun is out. That's going to help these severe potential. Just so you guys can get the broad spectrum of things. On your screen here, you can make out the SPC outlook. In orange, you have the highest risk, so anywhere from central and eastern Iowa, all the way through southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, all the way to southwestern Michigan and northwest Indiana. That's going to be your highest threat for damaging winds and isolated tornadoes. And the yellow, anywhere from back into the Dakotas all the way down into the Kentucky area, into Pennsylvania, you guys have the threat for mainly damaging winds and in some instances of isolated large hail, but that threat is quite low. Tom, there is potential for that to happen. Anywhere from now to later tonight, any storm that does pop up is carrying severe potential. But the main severe event is expected to be later on this evening. Yeah, we'll be here all night, Dawn. No one's going to get sleep. How many of you guys plan to stay up and watch us tonight? I'm curious. We'll probably be live until these storms exit, which may be closer to 4 in the morning. Oakland County, 2 to 4 in the morning. Eric, that is not expected to hinder just because we have widespread sunshine. We don't have a huge system coming through to overturn the atmosphere. So if anything, it's actually going to be helpful if storms do fire up because we'll have some outflow boundaries, which could enhance some wind shear. So right now, we don't expect anything to hinder the severe potential tonight. There is one thing I can go over really quickly that I was looking at earlier, and I'll go ahead and flip out of this really quickly and look at it again. But on our real-time data, when we look at instability, we have a Cape reservoir, so to speak, so instability reservoir that cuts off right there in northwest Indiana, and it cuts into Indiana. So a lot of times with these squall line type of systems, sometimes you can get these squall lines to follow the better instability, which is actually what usually happens. So this may hit Lake Michigan area and take a southern dive. If that does happen, the eastern part of Michigan may be spared. But southwestern side, right here, the enhanced risk is, you can kind of see on the SPC risk as well, it's kind of angled downward. If I go ahead and pull this back up really quick, maybe you guys can see what I'm talking about. So here's your meso-analysis screen looking at the instability again. And you can make out just barely. If you follow my cursor, you can see my cursor. Over here, you have really high Cape, and it kind of cuts south here into Indiana. So if the storms fire up and ride this ridge of higher Cape, the southwestern part from Grand Rapids all the way to Kalamazoo will get brushed. And if that happens and dives into Indiana, the east side may be unscathed tonight. We'll have to watch that closely. But right now, there's plenty of Cape in Michigan to support severe storms anywhere you go. So, excuse me, we'll have to watch that closely. We'll have to see if this product pushes into Michigan. This is MCS maintenance. So if that pushes back into Michigan here, I'll be more confident that that squall line would push across the entire state, which is expected right now. But right now it's kind of holding off to the west there. So it may hit that and kind of dive southward into better instability. We'll have to watch that very closely. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and stop that screen and represent our radar image and take some more questions here. I've got a lot of people saying they're going to be up. Dang, probably a good crowd tonight. Let's have some fun tonight. The worst part is I can't drink energy drinks, so I'll be going off pure adrenaline. So I'll probably get tired at some point. So you guys, you're going to stay up, keep me awake. Mystic, great question. I'll go ahead and plug this really quickly. I know you guys probably hate when I talk about this, so I'll go ahead and plug it. So as a subscriber on Patreon or Facebook, you get exclusive content. Like, for example, we post every Sunday night around 8 o'clock. We post exclusive weekly forecast discussions. Mainly it's just we put out the days and any severe risk that we see at any given time in the week. And usually it's actually been pretty accurate. For example, the Colin tornado that happened, we called that 4 days in advance. The Lexington tornado day, we called that 4 days in advance. So we do call out these severe potentials and get those out to our subscribers before, like, days in advance when applicable. Also, as a subscriber, you do get access to podcasts. You get access to some exclusive videos, breakdowns, stuff like that. You also get access to our forecasts hours before we publish them. So when you see the forecast on our page, if you're a subscriber, you got it probably 2 to 4, maybe closer to 5 hours before we posted it publicly. So those are just some of the subscriber benefits to you guys. So we do offer those. You do get the same benefits on Patreon as well as Facebook subscriptions. Patreon allows us to insert images into our paragraphs, so it's more in order. On Facebook, we have to link all the images at the bottom and kind of label them. So it might be kind of hard to follow along if you're not really familiar with what we're talking about. So Patreon is definitely your go-to if you don't understand certain maps and stuff like that. But yeah, you do get the same benefits either platform. Heavy rain is definitely a threat tonight for us all. All right, guys. Probably going to hop off here pretty soon, but I see a couple more questions. Yeah, thanks, guys, for joining our Patreon. We're getting a pretty good following build on there. We have, in total, between two platforms, I think we have close to 70 people who are subscribed, so that's awesome. We're going to be primarily covering Michigan tonight, but if we do have some like tornadic activity south of the state line, we'll kind of cover that briefly. But our focus tonight is going to be on Michigan. I know last night we covered, or a few nights ago, we covered some tornadic activity in Indiana because we really didn't have anything going on in Michigan at the time. So we kind of shifted our focus down to Indiana for a minute. But no, tonight we expect Michigan to be the main show. We're going to focus on Michigan tonight. Hail in Macomb shortly. Let's check that out. Macomb Township right there. I don't see much in the way of any hail. We'll check it out. Give me a second. Nope, no hail with that. Maybe pea size at that, but there is no hail in there. Yeah, I don't see anything. Just some heavy rain, maybe some gusty winds there. And I was talking about earlier, guys, here's an outflow boundary that is formed off of the storm. That enhances shear and also lift. So we could have some more cells popping up along that boundary. So we'll have to watch that. If that stays in play for later, if any storms make it across, we'll have to watch that boundary closely when it gets to those types of areas to kind of get an idea of if storms are going to move into a better environment or not. Any more questions, guys? You are around 2 to 4 in the morning. Can we throw up the Patreon link? Yeah, it's patreon.com/MI Storm Chasers. I'll go ahead and run a banner on the bottom of the screen for you guys. It's actually /Michigan Storm Chasers. So patreon.com/Michigan Storm Chasers. That'll take you to our page where you can go ahead and click your options to subscribe. Flint area, you are in the slight risk for some gusty winds. That's about it. Overall threats highest to your south and west. SPC outlook is 9 p.m. tonight. No tornado threat tonight for Flint. It's a very low-end threat, and the highest low-end threat, should I say, is in the very far southwest corner of the state. So Flint, if the risk overall is low across the state, the risk in Flint is like 0.001. Rick, the enhanced risk could shift east, although we'll have to kind of watch that closely to see how instability takes shape. Right now, I like the placement of it, but if those storms fire and continue to push eastward, we'll have to see what the SPC does. But if it does get extended, it'll either be at 9 o'clock or they'll have to do a special update for it, which is very rare. So I don't expect it to be extended. If it does, it'll be later on this evening. I see we have a couple new Patreon subscribers. I see Ruth. I appreciate you. Well, if you're on here, Ruth, if you're watching this, shout out to Ruth. Rochester Hills, you guys looking 2 to 4 in the morning. And again, rough timing. It's going to be dependent on when storms fire and how fast they move. But the rough timing is midnight, right around, we'll say 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. on the west side, and as late as 4 a.m. on the east side. Awesome. Thank you, Mystic. Tomorrow, nothing major for tomorrow. Or sorry, I thought you said tomorrow. Monroe has a wind threat tonight. Nothing. I wouldn't say anything major for Monroe. I think the storms are going to be at their peak on the western side of the state, but still some severe wind gust threat is going to be in there for Monroe. Is in play for Monroe, should I say. Are storms developing in Wisconsin? Well, let's take a peek. The answer is yes and no. This is not going to be the main threat, but there is some potential for severe weather with these as they continue to cross. So I have to watch that close. But right now, that's not our main threat we're watching. We're watching starts way out here. As you can see, nothing's really going on out here. We have some activity up here. We have some activity back here in the Dakotas, but overall, nothing is formed yet. But we do expect that to form here in the coming hours here. We do have some development here. It's been going in Iowa for quite some time. It's struggling to break that cap. But to watch that close, that would be pushing our way if it does. But yeah, nothing that would concern me at this point. Winds are the main threat for Rochester Hills, yes. The severe threat increase for later, it is expected to increase. If you're talking about the outlook, I don't expect it to increase at all. I think it's going to remain enhanced and slight there. But overall, the severe risk will increase as we go into the evening hours. Brianna, if you're on the west side of the state, I wouldn't be surprised if winds are upwards of 60 to 70, maybe a few isolated higher gusts. If you're on the east side of the state, I think right around 60 would be the max. If that line holds the strength across the state, it may bring a little bit higher gusts to the east side, but for right now, I'd say 60 to 70 for most is going to be a pretty good guess. Wayne County's in the threat, Sarah, for later on. You're talking closer to 2 of the 4 in the morning, so it's not going to be anytime soon. Although we do have the potential for some pop-ups in the state, which have already happened. But right now, the severe risk is minimal with the storms keeping themselves isolated. So we'll have to wait for later on to see what the evening's going to play out. Marine City, let's go take a peek at that. Some marine up there, nothing too major. I don't really see anything worth watching up there yet. Yeah, you're all clear for right now. Just some rain, maybe some thunder. Oh, I don't see any lightning with these storms. There's one. There's 2, 3, 4. So yeah, just some brief heavy rain there. And we have the other area over here over by Sarnia. Just some heavy rain there, guys. Might be some flash flooding going on. Let's go ahead and check out our storm total on rain. About an inch or so, maybe a little bit, inch and a half in some spots. But yeah, just some isolated instances. Chesterfield Township there. You guys are getting some good rain, also in Romeo. So good soaking rain for you guys. This is the rainfall map, just FYI. If you guys didn't know. Rick, you from the area? But yeah, 2 inches of rain. Wouldn't shock me. Radar indicate 1.5 inches. Check our page rather than the local weather stations. We appreciate that, guys. We try to do our best. We know we're not going to be always correct. That's just how weather is, but we do our best to keep you guys updated on changing conditions. And if something weakens or something strengthens, you're going to be the first to know about it. So we appreciate you guys. Holly said it's storming bad in Chesterfield, New Baltimore. Not surprised. if you guys haven't already, if you guys want to consider getting yourselves a NOAA weather radio, that's another great way to keep yourselves informed. If there's an alert issued for you guys, you'll be alerted with a very loud beep. I have mine set up for the night right in front of me here, so if I get any warnings while streaming, I can just go ahead and shut it off, but I do want to be aware of any warnings. Weather radios are awesome. D-Man. Is it looking less intense for Southeast Michigan? I have not looked at updated rain totals, but right now I'm going to say the flood watch is still in effect, I believe, for Southeast Michigan. I'll double check on that real quick. Yeah, flood watch is still in effect until 4 p.m. or at 4 p.m. and it goes until late tonight is all they say. And that's pretty much for the entire southeast part of Michigan from Flint south. So Metro Detroit area, Ann Arbor, Ypsi, Livingston County. Toledo's also under it down through Cleveland. But that's the only place that I see the flood watch in effect. So tomorrow, Cheyenne, you should be clear, although there is a few chances of isolated storms. The overall threat for storms tomorrow is quite low. And there is no risk for severe weather tomorrow at all. So enjoy. Dawn says until 6 a.m. I did not see that. I just said until late tonight. I'm not sure why I didn't say 6 a.m. There is a stalled warm front now approaching the state, which is going to be the focus for severe weather later on this evening. So I'll have to watch that close. Appreciate you, Jenna. Thank you for that. Mystic, I have the WR120. I don't know what the B is, but I just have the WR120 on me. This is what the weather radio looks like. I don't know if you guys can see that or not. Trying to. But yeah, if you guys don't have one, I would definitely get one. Yeah, feel free to ask us questions. The only time that we really don't answer questions is either if there's 1,000 people here or if we're covering like a imminent threat for somewhere. Like, for example, we had an instance way back in July 12th where we had storms that were tornado warned on the west side of the state, and we had 500 people in the comments asking about the east side, which was not an immediate danger. So when that kind of situation happens, we will not focus on questions, but we're going to focus on the threat at hand. We're always looking across the state for more threats. So if your area is in a threat, you're going to hear about it from us. So if you don't hear your area called out while we're covering out while we're calling out other areas, you're more than likely fine. But yeah, other than that, we are happy to answer questions. I'm not sure if Best Buy has some, Jenna, but I got mine off Amazon for like $32. I think that with a Prime Day deal they ran was like $28, but I can look it up really quick. The Midland R120 on Amazon is $34.88, and it's free delivery in my area for tomorrow. So order it now, get it tomorrow. But yes, awesome to have on hand, easily programmable for your county. It can 3 alert tones. You can be silent. You can have it talk to you. You can have it send a very loud alert out. In fact, if you guys want to hear the alert, I'll go ahead and play it. It's pretty loud. See if I can get this to play real quick. But here we go. That's the alert for it. So it's very loud. It'll wake you up if you're sleeping for sure. It's annoying, which it's supposed to be annoying, but it's well worth the investment there. We'll also be giving away some of those weather radios from Midland in the coming weeks and coming months. We have a couple on hand to give away. Thanks to Midland for that. But personally, we just actually got sponsored by Midland about a week ago or so. We haven't announced it yet, but we actually do have a few weather radios that gave us to give away. But even before the sponsorship, I've had the weather radio, and it's the best I've seen. It's not speaking from a sponsorship standpoint. It's probably one of the best on the market. I really enjoy mine. Do you know how the SPC gets its info for the mesoanalysis, like how they're able to calculate parameters? So it is model based, and there's also a few things. There's a few instances where they have balloon launches where they send what they call a radio snowed up in the air, and it measures your instability, moisture, wind speeds, everything you're going to need to get an X-ray of the atmosphere. And they launch those at, well, not every office does, but they launch those balloons at 8 o'clock in the morning and also at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And on severe weather days like today, sometimes we'll have offices do special soundings at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon or sometimes at noon. Just depends on how big the severe threat is supposed to be. But that's one way we get an X-ray of the atmosphere. But the mesoanalysis itself comes off the RAP model. So it's based off some models, but it's also based off some real-time data at the same time. So again, guys, if you have questions, feel free to drop them in chat here. On here for an hour. I really enjoyed being on here talking to people. You guys are awesome. We'll be on here pretty much all night. So strap in. If you want to stay up, go ahead and strap in, get some coffee, pop some popcorn, and tune in. Hopefully tonight plays out where storms don't reach their full strength, but if they do, we'll be here. Alpha, okay, you're probably hearing me mispronounce it. It's called outflow. So when storms produce outflow, basically it's just an outward push of wind. And that wind can also act as like a mini cold front where it could enhance lift and also shear. Along those boundaries, in the summertime, you can have what we call cold air funnels. There's a lot of different things that can happen with it, but outflow boundaries are just dying or decaying thunderstorms that leave a trail of gusty winds in its wake. Battle Creek, Tim, you're in a severe threat tonight for damaging winds. Time frame is probably going to be after midnight for you guys, probably closer to 1, maybe 2 in the morning. Allegan will be to north. No, Allegan's right in the center of this. So Allegan, you are in the highest threat for the night for wind gusts as well as an isolated tornado possible. Although I will say again, the tornado threat, I'm going to stress this, is very low. There's just a very small chance of one happening. Just because with these QLCS type of squall line systems, they do happen to tend to spin up very quickly, but the overall wind shear is not favorable for tornadoes today. So that's not why that's I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not why I need to I need to stop. The reasoning we're not concerned is because the overall lack of wind shear is going to limit updraft rotation. That is the short answer. Lake Odessa, you are in the severe threat tonight. Wind is your primary threat. Jackson, you're in the severe threat tonight. For you guys in Lake Odessa and Jackson, it's going to be probably closer to 2 in the morning for you guys. Garden City, Tiffany, you are looking at around the 2 to 4 in the morning time frame. Just depends on how quickly the storms fire up. We do have a new discussional post that I don't have on here. Let me turn those on really quick. So the areas in blue he labeled as watching for development of storms. So both of these blue boxes up here in Minneapolis and also in Iowa here back into the Nebraska, you're looking at a 40% chance of a severe watch being issued in those locations. Looking at the text, it basically says supercells are possible. Primary concerns to be large hail and severe gusts. Trends are being monitored for a possible watch this afternoon. So there you go. So out west, looks like it's beginning to shape up how we expect it to. We do expect storms to start firing out here in Iowa area, somewhere in this vicinity in the next couple hours. As that happens, it'll push towards Michigan, more like southeast, southeast. I know I'm drawing terribly. Somewhere out here, and it'll push off to the east, southeast at around 50 to 60 miles per hour. So it's going to be a very quick moving line. They're expected to be a quick moving line at least. So that'll reach Michigan probably around 11 o'clock to midnight tonight. Again, we have 2 chasers active tonight. I'll be covering the stream. One of our chasers is actually in Canada on vacation, so he is lucky he doesn't have to work tonight, but we'll have you covered one way or the other. I really hope that one of the guys, I think Joel's hopping on here later. I think he is actually. I think he's pretty much told me he is. So when he takes over the stream, if these storms are heading my way in the east side of Michigan, I'll be out chasing. But again, it's going to be nighttime tonight. So it's mainly going to be just a watching radar. I'm probably not going to have a lot of content to show you. If you guys have lightning, there's going to be a lot of lightning tonight. So if you guys have pictures of lightning, flooding, hail, anything that happens tonight, if you guys find interesting, send it to us. We'll go ahead and try to share it on our stream for you guys. So we'll have some fun tonight. Yeah, same, Renzo. Wish you took me to Canada too. Yeah, thank God it's Friday. If this was a weekday and work was tomorrow, this would be a long night for a lot of us. I'm sure there's probably going to be some of us who are going to wait up and work tomorrow as well. But for the majority of us, it's Friday. It's going to be a long night, but it's going to be fun. We're going to try and have some fun tonight, although the seriousness of the event will be probably overshadowing the fun. But we'll try to have some fun tonight, guys. So, yes, we are all on Spotter Network, D-Man. So we'll go ahead and have them turn their spotter dots on so we can follow their locations. But I'll be in contact with them probably via Zello, which is our walkie-talkie app. So maybe you guys, if I set that up in a way where you guys can hear what they're talking about, we could probably do like a live walkie-talkie thing with them. We'll try and get this set up. No guarantees, but we'll try. All right, guys. So with that being said, I'm probably going to get some breakfast. Wow, guys. Maybe I should nap. With that being said, guys, I'm probably going to get some dinner and get strapped in for the night, get prepared, get my phone charged up. I'll try and get the walkie-talkie app set up so we can talk to Chandler and Alex in real time. But for right now, I'm probably going to hop off here. So thanks, guys, for watching. If you haven't already, hit the like button on your way out. We appreciate you guys. We'll be live if it warrants, which we do expect to go live later on this evening. So expect the live stream probably around the 9-10 o'clock time frame, perhaps a bit later if it's looking to be a little bit later, but we'll be on a little bit later on. And just pay attention. We'll go ahead and go live, and that'll be it. So thanks, guys.